Ever wanted to know what Uranus is actually like? Well, in today's video, you are going to find out 3 mind-blowing facts about this famously known cold planet and how it applies to the zodiac sign Aquarius. Join me in this series, Astronomy meets Astrology. Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. And if you're new here, my name is Hannah. I am a Western practical astrologer. And if you have not joined the Cosmic Warriors Club, what are you waiting for? Go to cosmicwarriorsclub.com. I hope to see you there. But before we do dive into today's video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and click the bell. And if you are interested in any of my services, you can go to my website, hannahselsewhere.com. There you can also find my practical astrology ebooks, guide, and merch. All the links will be in the description box down below. I do hope that you find this video to be helpful today. Let's do this. Alright, so just a quick reminder here, Uranus in astrology rules Aquarius, and so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the parallels between Uranus and this zodiac sign. So the first mind-blowing fact about Uranus is, like I said at the very beginning, it is so cold. In fact, Uranus is the coldest planet in our solar system. Uranus is the 7th planet from the sun, but it's still a lot closer than Neptune. And even though Neptune is further away, Uranus is colder than Neptune. And apparently, Uranus holds the record for the coldest temperature ever in our solar system, reaching as low as minus 220 degrees Celsius, about that. And this is around minus 360 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, Neptune is still freezing, reaching about minus 214 degrees Celsius. Even both Uranus and Neptune, they are known as ice giants. And this is because their rocky, icy cores are proportionally larger than the amount of gas they contain. And the gas giants are Jupiter and Saturn. So this is because they contain far more gas than rock or ice. And surprisingly, the reason why Uranus is so freezing, it's actually got nothing to do with its distance from the sun. It's so cold because heat is trapped inside of Uranus. And get this, Uranus is tipped on its side. After something crashed into it with this mighty force, Uranus tipped over onto its side. Now, all the planets in the solar system rotate on their axis. So, for example, the axis of Earth's rotation is tilted by about 23.4 degrees. Mars's tilt is about 34 degrees. But Uranus's axial tilt is around 99 degrees. And Uranus looks like a ball rolling in this circular pattern. And did you know Uranus has rings? Okay, so how does this information relate to the sign Aquarius? Well, for one, Aquarius is often viewed as a very cold sign. Both Capricorn and Aquarius can appear stoic. They aren't the most open about sharing their feelings and their emotions. These signs in our charts represent the parts of us that are more pragmatic and analytical rather than getting caught up in drama or emotional matters. And often the sign of Aquarius is accused of being emotionally distant. Aquarius can show up in our charts as being silent, unbothered, nonchalant, indifferent, dispassionate, and detached. This sign represents the part of us that intellectualizes situations. We try to make logical sense of what we're experiencing, But we might try to do this in such a way that we detach from our personal feelings or from the feelings of others. Now, on one hand, detaching can be useful, okay? I'm not trying to say that detachment is this super negative thing. It can be useful. We can step back from a situation and maybe even just revisit it later. We can also release getting caught up in a difficult, messy issue with someone else. And we can detach to have some emotional space for ourselves. We can also give others emotional space. But on the other hand, detaching can come across as cold, aloof, distant, unfeeling. So if something isn't going our way, for example, if we're upset about something, detaching could be used as a way to send a message that we're upset, but we don't know how to communicate what we need or how we feel. We also don't know how to communicate what we need from the other person. But the thing is we can overdo it. Not to mention, detaching from our own feelings can come with all sorts of complications. For instance, we might numb how we feel. We may refuse to face ourselves. We may deny parts of ourselves too. Detaching and disconnecting could even be a defense mechanism, a way of coping with stress or anxiety. But disconnecting from our worries doesn't really get to the root of the issue. Not connecting with how we feel can even lead to further stress and worry because we aren't being honest with ourselves or because we're not dealing with the situation or with our feelings. Naturally, however, it's easier said than done to say, oh, you should really open up and share how you feel, etc. I mean, often in life we are presented with sudden changes, and also we don't have to open up to everybody. And looking at these sudden changes, well, these disruptions, they can throw us off in life. Chaos can make us feel restless, nervous, anxious, really, really worried. Unpredictable events can turn us on our sides, much like the planet Uranus is tilted on its side. And Uranus actually rules things like the unpredictable and sudden changes within astrology. Yeah, often in life, it's the things we do not plan for, we do not prepare for, which can catch us off guard. Okay, they can catch us by surprise, either in positive or negative ways. Though think about how Aquarius is ruled by both Saturn and Uranus. I explained in the Saturn video about how the Saturn side of Aquarius questions the rules. We become aware of how we are restricted or limited, etc. We think about success and authority and so on. And then the Uranus part of Aquarius throws all expectations out the window. Uranus shakes things up, breaks things apart, and changes things in unexpected ways. And at the same time, Uranus innovates, invents, and discovers a new way of doing things. It's about looking toward the future of humanity, and it's about breaking free from social norms, breaking away from what is expected. And it's about making these breakthroughs which come in a flash. These breakthroughs can't really be planned as such. They just happen. And when they do happen, things can be exciting. But still, the point I'm trying to get to here is sudden changes can lead to unexpected emotional reactions when there is an upheaval within society. So thinking about this crazy, unpredictable event, we can go crazy ourselves. It's hard to understand how we feel in the moment because perhaps we're so overstimulated, we're overwhelmed by the change, by a new experience which is pushing us so far outside of our comfort zone. And so when looking at Aquarius in your chart, consider these themes. I mentioned unexpected changes in the Saturn video about how a certain rule or a certain law could be changed within society, and that new rule or law could impact us in bigger ways than we think. And for more information about the Saturn side of Aquarius, do make sure to check out the Saturn video. The second mind-blowing fact about Uranus is that in Greek mythology, Uranus was the personification of the sky, of the heavens. Now, Uranus and Gaia, aka the Earth, would lay together each night, and they created the Titans, one of which was Cronus, aka Saturn. And then Saturn and Rhea, so Rhea being the second largest moon of Saturn, they had many children, some of which included Jupiter, Neptune, and Pluto. Jupiter had dominion of the heavens, Neptune had dominion of the seas, and Pluto had dominion of the underworld. Now, Saturn castrated his father Uranus, and he also devoured his children so they wouldn't overthrow him, just like he overthrew his father. So he overthrew Uranus. But essentially, this is suggesting that it all started from Uranus and the Earth. And it was the act of Saturn castrating his father which led to the separation of Uranus, aka heaven, and Earth. And Jupiter did eventually overthrow his father Saturn. The Titans and Saturn actually went to war, and Jupiter cut Saturn up and threw him to the Tartarus, which was this evil deity buried underneath the earth. And so what we're noticing here is a pattern. How these gods were destined to be overthrown by their children. And in the Saturn video, I talked about how Saturn teaches us that we all strive to reach our mountain of success, but then we peak. Then we pass on our wisdom to others. And then someone else goes up the mountain. Those younger than us have their turn. We can even look at this as the cycle of life. This is what Saturn teaches us, that we eventually pass things on. We give the young a shot at life. We sacrifice a part of ourselves so the young get to grow. And Uranus is tied to the cosmos, to the collective consciousness. It goes further than Earth and is tied to our solar system as a whole. And in some myths, Gaia is said to have emerged from chaos and then created Uranus. Now, apparently, Uranus hated his children, much like Saturn tried to devour his own children. Uranus locked his children away, and here's something else. Following the castration of Saturn, blood that fell to the ground bore the Furies and the Giants. And Saturn's genitals were thrown into the ocean, leading to the birth of Aphrodite. Aphrodite being Venus. However, some ancient sources say Jupiter, aka Zeus, and Dione, they are the parents of Aphrodite. And Dione is a small moon that orbits Saturn. Still, Uranus and Saturn look at the truth of life and death. But we might also deny this process. Think about how Uranus and Saturn didn't want to step down. And so they locked their children up. They devoured their children. See, as humans, we can deny others their shot at life. We may not want to lose our successes. We may become afraid of becoming irrelevant. Think about the jealous parent, for example, or the parent whose children live through them. They don't allow their children to have their own identity. And with the same token, Cronus castrated his father. Consider how children can turn on their parents, perhaps because they weren't loved or seen as individuals. But then we can also pass on these very behaviors to our own children. So even though we might fight back against our parents, so to speak, we still pass on these over-demanding and fearful traits onto our own. And so the cycle continues. But we can, of course, break the cycle, which we will talk more about in the Pluto video, but still, Uranus is pointing toward these cycles and the breaking of such cycles. Moreover, Jupiter comes along and asks about immortality, about spirituality. We will talk more about this in the Neptune video, but do keep in mind that Jupiter also overthrew Saturn. So is it that as humans, we have a hard time accepting that we only live once? Or is it that our life is part of something much bigger? Are laws on Earth based on religious values and ethics? Or does religion highlight something very real and true about the cycle of life? Yeah, these things are very much connected to Uranus, Saturn, and Jupiter. So essentially here, there is this collective overarching feel to Uranus. Uranus is tied to the bigger picture. It looks at universal truths and principles. And then thinking also about how it's representative of how connected we are as a humanity. In fact, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. It's tied to intuition, our flashes of insight. Now remember in the Mercury video, I talked about the speed of Mercury and how it's the fastest planet in our solar system. It can travel as fast as 104,000 miles per hour. Well, Uranus is like lightning, and lightning can strike as fast as 270,000 miles per hour. Lightning strikes have been detected in the clouds of Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. And apparently the lightning strikes on Uranus are more powerful than those on Earth. Though they are nowhere as near as powerful as Saturn's, keeping in mind both Saturn and Uranus rule Aquarius. This sign, which is linked to erratic and sudden behavior, Uranus and Aquarius point toward our flashes of insight, our creative and original ideas, our intuition, and a sharp intuition at that. We might not be able to comprehend why we are experiencing a cosmic download. We just know. Uranus is about knowing, but knowing in a way that is unexplainable. Mercury looks at our intellect, but it's about finding out the facts and having the data, doing the research. But Uranus is about knowing information, but not really knowing why we know that information. We just do. And also Uranus looks at the bigger connections between things, whereas Mercury assesses those smaller connections. Uranus represents consciousness as a whole, and everything is said to be consciousness. Not to mention, Uranus is a generational planet. It points to how your generation invents and innovates. So looking at technological advancements and new cultural systems, how does society break down and or advance? Uranus also focuses on how society pushes for change. So thinking about the new rules coming into place through Saturn, for example, well, Uranus then comes along and says, actually, no. We as a collective here do not agree with these new rules. We don't want it. We are going to rebel against it. Even consider the situation in France at the moment due to the rising of the retirement age. They're like, no. We refuse this, and also we are disgusted at the fact that you did that. How could you do that? Oh yeah, Uranus looks at the rising up of the people, of cultures and groups. It's about everyone coming together and demanding attention, pushing for change. Indeed, Uranus shows us the part of us that puts up a middle finger to the rules, to the law, to social norms. It points toward how we change the status quo. It's the part of us that refuses to join the rat race as well. It's tied to things like rallies, protests, riots, and movements. I guess you could say Uranus is representative of chaos, rebellion, anarchy, and it's the Earth that is said to have emerged from chaos. So, what could this tell us? Well, I think about how a new world could come into existence after a disruption, after chaos, a new future for humanity. Uranus in our charts points toward these very things. And the third mind-blowing fact about Uranus is Uranus was the first planet found with the telescope. Uranus was discovered in 1781 by astronomer William Herschel, but he originally thought it was a comet or a star. Though, why is this so important? Well, because Uranus rules things like inventions, innovation, and change. It's tied to experimentation, genius, science, technology, even astrology. And if you think about how Uranus was the first planet found with the help of a telescope, what a Uranus thing within itself. Uranus started the ball rolling when it came to new cosmic breakthroughs. Pardon the pun. After Uranus was discovered, then was Neptune, then Pluto, and the well-known asteroids were also discovered, and we use these well-known asteroids within astrology. Indeed, Uranus is linked to scientific breakthroughs, experimenting, and new methods. Perhaps we will see a new way of teaching astrology as Pluto enters Aquarius. So, looking at the transformation of astrology itself, let's also consider how many people say we have entered the age of Aquarius, the age of knowledge, the age of knowing. And so when looking to Aquarius within your natal chart, think about how you reinvent yourself, how you innovate, how you create change. Perhaps you use technology to assist you, or it's that things are turned upside down for you. So thinking about the unexpected changes that come with Aquarius and Uranus. And at the same time, you may have these breakthroughs, these revelations. The unexpected could work out in your favor, but it also may not. You'll never really know because that's Aquarius for you. There's always an element of surprise and shock. We could even have this eye-opening experience or become awakened to something totally different. And if we are to look at the 11th house, so the house ruled by Aquarius, well, the 11th house points toward rebellion, refusing to follow the status quo, and even looking at non-conforming ideas. It's about embracing our independence and our freedom, looking even at liberation, marching to the beat of our own drum. This house also looks at the future of humanity as well as our hopes, aims, and wishes for humanity. It's strongly linked to the collective, to a collective vision, for example. It's associated with groups, teams, alliances, and clubs. We seek alternatives within this area of life, but we also join together with others. We connect with like-minded people. The 11th house looks at how our views towards society are shaped, as well as the role we play within the greater whole. Ultimately, Aquarius shows up in our natal charts as a manifestation of things like surprise, sudden change, freedom, independence, experimentation, and being different. This sign is tied to how you reinvent yourself and evolve in life. But at the same time, things can get a little bit crazy and weird, where life is turned on its head. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video talking about the 3 mind-blowing facts about Uranus and how it applies to the zodiac sign Aquarius. I really do hope that you find this video to be helpful today. Thank you so much for watching. Did you learn something new? Did your perspective change? Do you have any fun facts for me? All references I used in today's video will be in the description box down below. Be sure to check them out and let me know your thoughts and your opinions on today's video. But with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then make sure that you click that subscribe button and also give this video a like if you did like it today. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!